Hey everyone, this is Heather Picken with La Dolce Vita, the Formula for Fabulous Living, empowering women and also fabulous men, entrepreneurs all over the world. And today I am coming to you from the library office because right now what's happening downstairs is that they're laying down the tile for my new La Dolce Vita. I'm calling it Studio Den. I don't know what I'm calling it yet. So maybe you have a better name. But my vision for it is that I'm going to do videos for my show, Facebook Live videos. It's going to be a cool little studio. Another vision that I have is inviting people down to the den, because it's downstairs, to do interviews. So I've got some ideas bubbling inside, so I'm really excited. Right now, it's a complete disaster. So hopefully they don't need me. I told them to text me. But if I end this abruptly, you'll know why. You'll know why. The lighting isn't the greatest today, but I kind of have a makeshift background here. But I just want to say, hey, everyone that has joined me today. So I want to talk about a recent client case study. I just get so excited working with fabulous entrepreneurs. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, but what matters is if you're following the formula for success. And recently, I just started working with this client in less than 7 days. I really want you to get that. In less than 7 days, this person is already getting leads and listings. So this particular client is actually a realtor. They just got their real estate license. Okay, so imagine no matter what business you have, maybe you're a realtor or maybe you're doing something else. The problem is, right? The problem is, how do I get out there and get new clients, right? There's so many different ways that you can do that. And I see this across the board. People are chasing after every shiny object and then they get frustrated, right? You get someone that's marketing you some empty promises. It's all fluff. And then you're like, why can't I get those same results? Rule number one, stop paying attention to the quote unquote shiny objects in those promises that are really outrageous. Okay. So that's something that I will never do. What I promise is if someone follows my formula, I'm gonna go through it right now, they will get results. And it depends on how you use the formula. Okay. And so I love sharing these examples because it doesn't matter what stage you're in your business. And I work with successful CEOs and people that are just starting out. And I find, everyone's mind is conditioned differently. Okay. So let's look at this. If you're a CEO, your problems are going to be different. And your mindset actually will also be different as well, because the problems that you're solving at a CEO level are completely different than one of a startup. Would you agree? But here's how you can really capitalize on, really getting the wisdom from a CEO's mindset is understanding how they think, right? And so what I always say is that your mind, your success starts in your mind, okay? And if you don't believe me, I want you to look at your results right now. Look at your results, not just in your business, but every single area of your life. And everything that you're wanting starts with your self-image. This goes back to the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He talked about this. He actually was revolutionary in his idea of talking about how we perceive ourselves. Now, this is so important. This is not taught in any kind of marketing platform. And what I mean by that is, let's just say you get this marketing funnel and you're not seeing results. It's because you don't understand how the mindset works. The mind is really your marketing engine. Marketing to me is secondary. Yes, you need to do it, but you have to understand, what is actually going on in my mind, right? And so with the book, Psycho-Cybernetics, Dr. Maltz talks about how the self-image plays the biggest part in what someone wants. He gives some different examples and that sort of thing. But in the book, he talks about one of the examples. This is really interesting about, and I'm going to paraphrase this, how a basketball team or basketball players were practicing free throws. And they had a couple different, I think it was two sets of teams. One was practicing physically, okay? So they were practicing the free throws, and fun thought, I used to be on the basketball team in junior high. I had very short hair. Anyways, one was practicing physically. The other was practicing mentally. And who do you think got the highest conversions when they actually put them out on the floor? The ones that practiced visually. I have interviewed some of the most world-renowned people on neuroscience, understanding the psychology of the mind. I feel like I'm an expert on understanding that because I've helped so many clients all over the world recondition this. And I was the biggest mess. And that's why I can say, you know, with authority, that your success starts in your mind. So going back to this client, they came to me and they said, okay, I just got my real estate license. I have all these other businesses that I want to do. Now, I want you to first think about, if you have a million bazillion projects, what I want you to do is focus on one. Why one? Because your mind is going to be very overwhelmed. And I see this all the time, trying to take on everything at once. Now, if you're one of those rare people that you can have 50 million things on your plate, then that's awesome. But realize, if you really want to create momentum, you've got to focus on one thing at a time. And this is where people, their energy is all scattered. So step number one, what we did is first I said, okay, let's focus on what you really want to accomplish the most. Like, what is inspiring to you? And I asked him, I said, why is real estate important to you? And so why am I asking those questions? Because if you're not inspired by your vision, you will not take action. That shiny marketing funnel isn't going to do anything for you. And most likely it's not going to do anything, right? So really getting clear on the vision and being able to see it in his mind. If you can't see your vision, if you can't have a crystal clear vision of what you want your business and life to look, then don't expect yourself to take action, okay? So it's really, really important. And I will never help a client create a fantasy goal. A fantasy goal is what I call a unicorn goal, unrealistic expectations on a person that is not aligned with their highest personal values. And I talk about it. I have to plug my book. I talk about it in my book, the Dolce Vita formula. I talk about everyone on this planet has a specific way in how they're seeing the world. And you have different priorities and things that you want to accomplish. And no two people are identical. And this is important because if you're setting goals and you're seeing someone out on Facebook land, you're setting goals and you're comparing yourself to them, you're probably not going to set goals that are aligned with you. And I know that because people come to me all the time. They're hiring other people and they're beating themselves up wondering why they can't reach their goals. So really understand what your highest personal values are. What is your vision that you see yourself doing that is aligned with you? So we sat down virtually and I started to help him to create a vision that is aligned with him. And now here's how it works. I find that this process has to evolve over time. It's hard to do it in just one sitting, like just a couple minutes writing it down. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see if you're congruent. You're going to see if the vision matches what you're truly inspired to do. Now, why is that important? Because motivation is external forces telling yourself, I have to, or other people, right? I have to do this, I must, using imperative language. When you are inspired, it's automatically, allowing you to take the action. So my question is, would you rather have people force you to do something or come from the place of like, ugh, I got to do this, I got to follow up with that person? Or would you rather come from a spontaneous action that you feel aligned with that no one else is telling you to do? What do you feel is going to get you faster? What's the fastest path to your goal? The one that is coming from inspiration. So that's why I will never, ever, I hope no one calls me a motivational speaker. I'd rather come from being inspired and showing people how to tap into their innate abilities of what truly makes them fabulous. And that to me is a skill set. It's a skill set because a lot of times we're just comparing ourselves to other people. And I know, trust me, I've done it myself. And when I've done it, I would beat myself up and I would say, wow, I'm such a failure. Why am I not like that person over there? Okay. So I'm speaking from experience. Once I learned what my unique formula was, I no longer was comparing myself to someone else, holding myself in contempt, and then beating myself up. Now, that's important for you to know, because when you're not caring what other people are doing and just focusing on who you are and your, what I call your fabulous, what makes you fabulous and unique, then your goals that you set, let's just say in 30 days, I'd like to chunk it down, are going to become in complete alignment, and you're going to take action on it. Okay, so this is the difference. So going back to this client, we went through the entire process, getting clear on the vision that was aligned with his highest personal values. And, we talked about some marketing strategies, but I will tell you what made a difference was not the marketing strategies. What made a difference is I showed him how to set up a mindful routine where he was changing the way he was seeing himself. And he's like, Heather, I can't believe what's happening, because I just got 2 listings. So he got a listing for commercial and a listing for residential. Actually, I think he has 2 residential listings and 1 commercial listing. That's how powerful your mind is. And so that's what I am so inspired to teach, because we get so caught up every single day in, number one, comparing ourselves to other people. Trust me, we've all done it. We think that that person has more than us. And then we elevate them, right? We elevate them to say, well, look at them, instead of looking in the mirror and seeing what is most unique and fabulous about who we are. And that I find is the most challenging thing, right? Because when we look in the mirror, like you're looking in the mirror and you're like, you know what? I am most fabulous about what? What are you most fabulous about? What can you do that no one else in the world can do? And you might say nothing. And that's not true. That is not true. That's a lie you're telling yourself, or someone else told you. It could be one of your parents. It could be society. It's whatever you're comparing yourself to do. Right now, I'm running a program. We're actually in week 3, called Live Your La Dolce Vita Life Formula in 30 Days. And I'm working with seasoned entrepreneurs and those that are just starting out. And we're going through this process, and it's really cool, because one woman in this program, I'm not going to tell you who she is, and you probably don't know who she is, but I want to keep it private. But anyways, one woman in this program, after 40 years of being just mentally beaten, having her parents tell her, getting those ideas that she can't do this, that she's no good or whatever, having, a lower self-esteem, she is able, here's how her mind is working. I'm showing her how to flip on the switch to find what is most unique to her. And she's taking the action. She's telling me all of her wins. Like, one of her dreams is to teach yoga with her own methodology. And so we were brainstorming on our group call some of those different things that she could do. But more importantly, it's not about having your whatever system you're calling it. It's how she's seeing herself. And this is the cool thing. I think it was in week 1, she was telling me she was already getting people and resources. She already has people that want to take her class. And this is not doing any extra marketing. It's really about aligning yourself, going, I am clear on what I want to do. I am not allowing other people in the past, and this happens when we grow up. What happens is we inject the values of our parents, and not to make our parents wrong, but we inject those values many times, and we start beating ourselves up because we try to compare ourselves of how we should live our lives. But I'm here to tell you, if you follow your unique formula And I go through that in my book, the Dolce Vita formula. If you really follow it and you stand in your own truth, your own power, and you know it, you know when you're standing in your own power, you know when you're being true to yourself. How, why, or what's going on? Well, a lot of times what happens is your body is expressing to you whether you are or you're not. Have you ever gotten repeatedly sick all the time? And then you're just wondering, oh, it's the flu season, or yeah, that's the winter time. I'm telling you, mostly, and this has been studied through epigenetics. So if you don't know what that is, go ahead and Google it. But epigenetics is basically turning on those genes, which connect to your cells of making you sick, right? Making you sick. So that's why if just because your family has had cancer doesn't mean you have to get it. And that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. I talk about it briefly in my book, talking about epigenetics and why it's so important to focus on your unique formula. When you're following your formula, you're guided. You're guided. It's like you're focused and inspired. You'll do whatever it takes, right? You'll stay up late, whatever it takes. And what happens when you're not following your formula, you start feeling like low energy. And I've been there, trust me. When I am not following my unique formula, guess what? I start getting sick. If I'm not feeling balanced and aligned in my other areas of life, I start feeling run down. I start, going, oh, I don't want to do this. And so that is an inner nudge to watch what you're doing. I personally don't believe in getting flu shots. Okay. I don't believe in any of that. I've got a different way of how I approach it. Whatever your beliefs are, I'm not going to force my beliefs onto you, but I'm just sharing my opinion. If I'm getting sick, that's an indication that I've got to pay attention. So I could go on and on for hours about that, but let's go back to the mindset. That this is what I love talking about, because there's a correlation. There's a correlation to what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Those dominant thoughts, they connect really on a cellular level. All of your cells are responding to what your values are, what your value, if you're following your values. If you're not, then what happens is you start getting maybe like brain fog, you start feeling confused, you're low on energy, right? You don't want to work out. And I know that's always a big indication for me. If I'm feeling off, I ask myself, am I really following my personal values, my highest personal values? If I'm not, then I have to course correct. And I have to see myself, right? I have to visualize myself focusing on what I want. Here's what happens. And I know you can attest to this. Here's what happens when you don't focus on what you want. You create self-sabotage. So I can remember many times where I would say, oh, I hope this doesn't happen. I'm freaking out, right? And of course, what would I create? I would create self-sabotage, and we all do it. So the question is, how do we get over that? How do we reprogram our minds for success? And so when I'm working with clients, I teach them a scientific method that literally gets their body in sync. So they see it, right? They see it in their mind, they sync up, and they're taking the action. And to me, I think that's really cool. I'm not forcing them. I'm not saying, come on, let's do it. I mean, yes, I'm inspiring them. I'm telling them that they can do it, but I would rather have someone come from the inspiration of what they're wanting to do instead of feeling like they're, hit up against the wall. So I want you to look at your vision for your business in every area of your life and ask yourself this: is my vision clear enough? Am I getting in my own way? And a lot of times we get in our own way. Am I seeing myself? This is important. Am I seeing that mental picture in my mind that is one of success? If you're not, I want you to really dig deep. Why is that? Why is that? I find the more successful entrepreneurs I work with, it's so easy for me to get them results because they've trained their brain. A lot of times they don't know how they've trained their mind. They're just doing it. But once I go through, if they're opening up a new business and I go through, here is the methodology that you need to follow, and they follow it, then it's so easy for them to get results. Now, that's not to say you're never going to have challenges, because challenges are a necessary part of your brain to evolve. And even Einstein knew this. I'm not going to go into the brain science of Einstein, but I wrote a whole blog article about it, about how Marion Diamond studied. She was a scientist and she studied Einstein's brain. And it was interesting what her findings were. So you could find that article if you go to heatherpicken.com. And so I'm always about inspiring my clients and people I work with and showing them how to do it. And it's so easy not to do, but if you practice it, it's just like working out at the gym. If you get yourself in a rhythm and you start seeing, because I'm practicing this, I'm seeing myself successful, then as a result, here's what's happening. When you start seeing the cause and effect, you will never stop. You will never stop. And if you get off track, you will start getting yourself focused back on track. And I think sometimes, to be honest, sometimes we need to get off track. I don't believe in always having a balance. I think being off balance is one of the most beautiful things that can ever happen. You know why? Because it shows you where you need to course correct. It shows you where you're not paying attention. Every time I get off balance, I'm like, okay, great. This is great feedback to my conscious mind that I need to change something, that something's not work. Am I forcing something, right? Or am I going into the flow? My body is always telling me what I need to do. Okay, so I want you to understand this whole mind-body connection. You can really take any area of your life to another level. It's extraordinary. So years ago, I want to share a quick story before I go here. But years ago, when I was before I was competing in bodybuilding and fitness, I just didn't like my body. I was overweight. I was beating myself up. And this is when remember the movie Terminator, when that came out with Linda Hamilton? She was like all buff and she was doing pull-ups, I think in her cell. And I saw that movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to look like her. And so I went to the gym, and this was back, I think I was in college back then. And I went to the gym and I started using some visualization techniques that I share with my clients today. And I started reprogramming my mind, and I started creating. Now, here's the interesting thing. I had no idea I was going to get there, but I started reprogramming my mind and seeing myself in a different way so that I could produce the results that I wanted. Now, here's the interesting part of the story. Now I'm going about my business, working out. My body's changing because I'm focusing on how I want to see myself. And then what happened was really interesting, because I got complete strangers coming up to me and they said, you know who you look like? You look like Linda Hamilton from that movie, The Terminator. And I didn't tell anyone my little secret, but it was interesting. And I talk about it more in my book, but the reason why I want to share this with you is that anything that you align your mind to, you can do it. And that's how I won Miss Midwest States Natural Bodybuilding Competition. I mean, this was years ago, but I was focusing on the vision. Now, when I wasn't focused, what happened is I didn't place as high. When I wasn't focused, and this is where the mindset is everything. I remember training and working out and just seeing myself, like seeing when I was doing fitness competitions, I was seeing myself. I was changing those neural pathways in my brain. So everything was syncing up. And I didn't know at that time what I was doing. I had no idea. I'm like, why am I getting these results? And when I wasn't getting the results, I was like, So it's a little fuel for thought. I really want you to start thinking about, are you focusing on your success? Do you know that success starts in your mind? Are you having some kind of routine that you're doing on a daily basis? If you're not, I want to challenge you to commit to your success. That success is all in your mind. And if you're not getting what you want, just realize there's nothing wrong with you. Don't listen to other people. There's nothing wrong with you. All you have to do is see yourself successful. You have to do it. It has to become a part of you, because if it doesn't, then you're going to go back to your old ways. And I will tell you one last thing. it's a challenge. It's a challenge. You know why? Because for so many years, you've been programmed to, compare yourself to other people, thinking that you're not good enough, whatever garbage, what you're telling yourself or what other people have told you. Realize that what anyone else has told you is actually untrue. And if you take that on as a belief, then you're going to be living it. And I can say that with certainty because for so many years, I beat myself up. I was a train wreck. And as a result, not only did I not attract the kind of clients that I wanted, but I would also attract the wrong relationships. And, I'm very transparent in saying, yeah, my life has not been perfect, but why would you want to listen to someone whose life is perfect or they appear to be perfect? So I'll always question that. But I want you to start practicing that today and let me know if this helps you. If you found this video to be inspiring, please share it with people that you know, because I'm a woman on a mission, and my mission is empowering particularly women and women leaders to own their power in all 7 areas, particularly helping. My mission is helping entrepreneurs that want to change the world with their work. As women, we're living in an extraordinary times. You might think, oh, this really sucks right now. But I challenge you to flip the lens on how you're seeing things. I challenge you, instead of, being negative and writing things on Facebook, oh, how everything sucks in the world. I challenge you with having a cause that is bigger than you, that is going to create an impact. Because I truly believe that it takes one person with one message to create transformation in the world. So if you don't like what's going on, get off your butt and do something about it. Empower yourself as a woman, as a leader, whether you're a mom, I don't care. But what you don't want to do is start complaining and being, or I should say, watching the news and going, oh, this is horrible. Is there, I like to say, is there a contrast that's going on in the world? Absolutely. But I have to tell you, it's necessary in order to experience the contrast so that we can transform the world with our work. And I really have certainty about that. So do not lose hope. Have the faith in humanity that there are still good people out there that want to change. Are there always going to be quote unquote evil people? Absolutely. There always will. It is just a necessary biological / evolution. If you look back in history, all of those events in history are necessary, even if they're so-called tragic or whatever, that they're necessary for us to start changing everything. And I know I kind of went a long time in this video, but I can't shut this up. I can't. I'm very passionate, and I have a big heart for a lot of people that do want to change the world with their work. So again, I hope this inspired you. I hope you take action on seeing yourself successful, because this 100% works. I know it. I've taken any person possible that you could think of that has had, quote unquote, all the tragedy or mishaps or down on their luck. If they follow this, they get the results. Now, I will say one more thing before I go, is I want you to start small. Start small with your success. Don't say, and this is what people, back when Oprah had her TV show, I want to get on Oprah. Okay, that's great. Right now, she doesn't have TV shows. She's got, her other things, her Super Soul Sunday and that sort of thing. I want you to have realistic expectations on yourself and grow to a new level of your consciousness. And what I mean by that, when you see yourself successful, very small, start small. You expand your horizon for your vision, and you start jumping it up into new concentric spheres in your mind because you started small. That's how you build success and momentum. If you start out seeing yourself in a bigger way that is not aligned with your highest values, you're going to set yourself up for failure. And I don't want that to happen to you. I know it's happened to me. So guess what? I don't want that to happen to you. I want to see you being so successful, whatever that means. And it's not necessarily money, because that might not be a high value to you. that success means something that makes you feel fulfilled in all 7 areas, period. So don't listen to anyone else that says you're not a success until, whatever, fill in the blank. You know if you're successful or not. You define it. And that's the key. Okay. So I want you to focus on that. I just want to say, hey, everyone that's joined me on, someone said, yeah, I kind of look like her. Oh, and by the way, I'm very proud of myself. The other day at the gym, I did 7 pull-ups. It may not sound like a lot. I don't know, ladies, how many pull-ups can you do? But I'm working on my strength. I'm working on 10. So baby steps. Did I say I'm going to get 20? No. I don't want to set myself up for something unrealistic. But anyways, hope this inspired you today. You've got your homework. I'm holding you accountable. And again, if you found this message to be inspiring, just share it with someone else that needs to hear it, okay? Because I'm a woman on a mission to empower people. And one last thing before I go over to my blog, heatherpicken.com. I've got tons of articles, tons of free resources for you. I also have what I call my 3-day Sweet Life Challenge. And I go through this more in depth about creating your vision, why that's important, some of the steps that you need to take. It's a 3-video training. So if you go over to the blog, you can get it. Or if you go to 3-day, the number 3-day, sweetlifechallenge.com, you can get access for that completely free. Okay. Have an inspiring day. You know what to do. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.